They're on their feet. They're running around over at the Hockey Shop. Source for Sports Langley, hockeyshop.com. Presenting InGoal Radio, the podcast. Darren Millard, David Hutchison, and Kevin Woodley. We're all back together. We're rocking and rolling. This is kind of the last episode before things explode in all of our worlds. There's leagues going, but as of early September, we got rookie camps, we got all kinds of stuff happening in the National Hockey League and the pro level. So this is the calm before the storm, Woody.
Not at the Hockey Shop. It is the storm already, let me tell you. You talked about, I know you're just kidding around about them running around, but oh my goodness, talk about being run off your feet, 7-day weeks. They are going full bore right now over at the Hockey Shop, Source for Sports. And so I'll just get their read-in out of the way here, because they have all the expertise. The reason they are so packed, the reason they are jammed, the reason they are running off their feet is because they have so much great stuff. They've got the latest and the greatest. I was there recording this week and the CCM Vision Stick came in. So that's going to be on the shelves soon as they're allowed to publicly release it, if it's not already. They've got all kinds of new gear. They've got all kinds of old gear on sale or past editions on sale. And best of all, it comes with the expertise of knowing what fits your game. Tell them how you play. Tell them how you like your gear to feel. They will find what works best for you at the price point that is best suited for your level of play. It's the expertise that comes with shopping at the Hockey Shop Source for Sports or thehockeyshop.com.
Hutch, were you there on that recording day?
I actually wasn't. For one of the first times in a very long time, Woody took the camera and rode solo. So I was sorry to miss.
Were ya?
He wasn't sorry. He wasn't sorry about the 5 a.m. wake up or 4:30 a.m. wake up he normally has to get on the ferry to come over. That he wasn't sorry about.
I'll give you that. It was definitely nice to have a little sleep in while Woody was working.
Yeah, Woody didn't love the early morning wake up that morning himself because he had gotten off a flight late the night before. But we made it work. Cam's a pro. We made it work.
Hutch, what's the place that you end up gravitating to, an area over at the Hockey Shop when you're in there on your recording days and you got a couple of minutes while Woody's doing whatever Woody does?
Yeah, it's funny. Actually, while they're doing the episodes, I'm responsible for 3 cameras and sound and so on. And I get those all up. And there's some days when I can just walk away from the tripods, confident everything is going well. So yeah, there's a free zone down where all the chesties are, where all the pants are. You can get access to some of the gloves, and I'll be honest, and not actually meaning to set up our feature interview today, but I loved it down there. They've got all the youth gear for the really small kids, and that just brings back some fantastic memories of all those mornings on the ice together with our son.
Should promote the feature interview brought to you by NHL Sense Arena, and piggybacks nicely off of our parent segment this week at Stop It Goaltending U, the app, and we've got the Daccords together.
We do. We thought about actually taking a piece of this and pulling it out and making it a future parent segment, but it all just sort of flowed together. It was all about the shared experience of, in this case, father and son, but I'm sure it will resonate with fathers and daughters, mothers and daughters, mothers and sons, everybody who's got sort of that shared experience of hockey and goaltending. I think this is going to resonate with. I won't tease too much of what comes from the interview, but I will just say Joey shares a story that Brian said has never been told before, a fantastic sort of intimate moment between father and son, to the point that I actually stopped and I said, you guys sure you really want to share this on the show? And no, Joey was cool with sharing it. So bit of a heart-wrenching moment, really cool to hear. You can all look forward to that, but there were also several fantastic bits in that piece that reminded me of all those great early morning experiences on the ice with my son.
And InGoal has a great relationship with Stop It Goaltending U, the app, with Brian Daccord. But is there some news regarding Brian that's just fully public now?
Yeah, there is actually. And I didn't say anything about it during the interview because you just never quite know. We get told lots of things well in advance of public releases and teams saying things. And Brian had told us a little while ago that this was in the pipe, but he is now officially the director of goaltending scouting and development for the Detroit Red Wings. So here's a guy with incredible experience around the National Hockey League. Joey's mentioned before that when he first started playing the game, his father was a goaltending coach in Boston with the Bruins. He's got time in Toronto as a scout. He's got time with the Arizona Coyotes as a director of goaltending. Just so much experience, so much he's able to share with his son that comes out in the interview. And we're really excited for Brian in this new role with the Red Wings.
Brian's got his fingers and feet and eyes on everything when it comes to the world of goaltending. And the conversation that takes place between Hutch and Brian and Joey is fascinating because it is father-son having a conversation, not NHL goalie and NHL goalie coach. It does resonate with you how much this is just dad and kid talking.
Oh, absolutely. It's exactly what it was. I mean, you just feel that moment together. I felt so privileged to be part of it because we actually did the interview on their back deck, overlooking Boston in the distance. And so for that reason, as you're listening, you may hear the audio go off just a little bit. It got windy every now and then and caused a few problems for us. But yeah, it just felt like this really cool moment. The two of them on the back deck together. I know they were waiting for a family dinner to happen as soon as we were done the interview. And just the thought that they still, with Joey at this age, with that contract secured for his long-term future, he's still home every summer training with dad, just reliving that experience that we're all so fortunate to enjoy with our kids.
Well, so this is why we needed Hutch to do the interview. Not only because he is the goalie parent in the group and it was perfect and he did such an incredible job with it, but because if I had been doing the interview, there's no way they would have been done even in time for dessert.
We may have took a little barb at Woody there near the end.
I heard it. Don't worry. It's funny because it's true.
One more question gets you the great answers. That's the rule. That's the new T-shirt. The gear segment brought to you by the Hockey Shop, source for sports language, thehockeyshop.com. We're going to focus on True this week and a lower price point.
Yeah, and we've been doing this a lot lately because this is the time of year when, like if you're looking for custom gear, good luck. You're not getting it in time for the season. There's wait lists. And so it's a perfect time. This is the time of year where if you need new gear, you're buying off the rack. And there's no better place than the Hockey Shop source for sports because of all that selection I just mentioned. We talk about the 30,000 square foot facility that they're in. They also have now 2 warehouses required to store all their other inventory. They are huge. How does it help you? It means they have gear like this. We're going to talk about True's lower price point options that you can go in. And boy, they've done a nice job of using some of their retro lines and graphics to anchor these lower price points. So really making them pop on the shelves and pop on your legs. They're a great look. And Cam's going to get into it with us and explain what you get and what you don't get out of these lower price point pads and gloves from True. What you definitely get is A, the good looks I just talked about, but B, the chance to go in there and have multiple sizes and multiple colors and multiple options that you can walk out with on the same day, as opposed to, I've got to custom order my gear and it's going to be Christmas by the time it arrives and I'm not sure that I'm going to be able to wear it for half a season. So great options at the Hockey Shop. Cam walks us through the specifics of this one today. Vintage, graphics, Lefebvre pads, gloves, blockers, off the rack, in store, available now for less. Cam, what exactly am I looking at here?
The L95 7X pad.
Welcome back to the Hockey Shop Source for Sports. What were you going to go over? This particular model from True, as Cam just described. And I guess first off, I teased it as being cheaper.
Mm-hmm.
This is their third price point for True.
Which we consider the mid for...
But equivalent pricing wise to most brands' second price point.
Correct.
Okay. So walk me through what this L95 is based off of.
Yes.
At the highest level, what you get and what you don't get compared to that highest level for what? About half the price?
About half the price.
There we go.
So, based off of the hazardous line, what you see here, so what would be considered True's stiffest line of pads. This pad itself, 100% is the 7X4 hazardous pad. Okay? Just to be super clear, we do have, obviously, our L95 vintage style graphic and a slightly different slide surface, which we'll get into here in a second. So, the pad itself, just to kind of reiterate some of the key points of this guy, just to do a quick overview, So again, stiff overall construction.
Still, I was going to say flexible boot, but not really. It's stiff right down there.
It's there. It's just, it takes a little bit of a breaking in. So continue with the boot, steeper angle than compared to what would be their Catalyst line of pads. So that will kick the pad up a little bit higher on your leg. So keep that a note in terms of for sizing purposes. We do find that this pit's a little bit bigger versus because of that steeper boot angle. Backing, we still have our familiar True pad. We still have our FRS system. Nice, easily adjustable. Open leg channel. You can definitely tighten it up more based off of that adjustment from that FRS system. Still open knee cradle, carved out. Seen this before from them. Again, no different there. Adjustable outer knee wing if you want to take it off. Have it, great. Not have it, take it off. Update. Weave slide surface. So before we had seen their version of, like, we'll call it, speed skin, their kind of idea. So their fast glide material, which worked well in certain situations, but definitely not all. So here, updated. It's just got your standard weave, tried, true, tested weave. Seen it before, see it all the way up to the NHL. Makes that nice sound when you go slide. Nice hard slide surface all the way throughout to give you nice support in the butterfly and also help to improve that slide.
We see the thinner profile in the thigh rise at the top. You see it kind of taper right at the very top edge. Do these come stock +2?
Yes, every pad will be a +2. Okay, including intermediate, which this is also available in.
Okay, so the sliding surface compared to the pro level, they have a new sliding surface at the pro level. This is not that, obviously.
This is not Diamond Glide. That's a little bit different. So again, we're going to talk about things that you're not going to get when you move to this middle price point. Exactly. Diamond Glide is going to be one of them.
But you still get weave, which traditionally has slid better. The difference brands look for other materials.
Yes, there you go.
Slide, like durability compared to weave. Like weave's always slid well, but there were questions about durability.
Yes, potentially long-term durability, sliding, in terms of like rough ice versus soft ice, things like that. But that said, it kind of gives a consistent baseline for the pad versus what it had before.
What are you not getting other than that sliding surface in this compared to, a pro level pad that costs twice as much?
As usual, we talk about the core and also where it's made. So obviously, we're not having a hand-built by Lefebvre pad here versus, a PX4, L95 graphic, that kind of style. So, offshore pad, not using the exact same form. So they do have some proprietary rebound foams that they are using in those higher levels. You're not going to get that same level of rebound off of this pad versus, that pro level pad. Also longevity of the core itself. In theory, yes, this is going to soften up a little bit quicker than, what you would get obviously with that pro level pad.
Gloves, blockers.
Yes.
$5.90?
Standard. Not too much different here. Yes.
Little skate lace.
I will say versus
nylon in between.
Yeah, the standard one off the wall that you would normally find in the 7X4 and even the 7X3. I think True's done a bit better at the consistency level of the glove. I just find that these feel a lot better off of the shelf. Again, still going to be your mid-price point glove. You're not expecting pro padding when you're getting into this. That's going to be some of your major differences. The internals, though, do feel really rich. I think for the value of the glove, you're getting something that's quite good quality for sure.
To be honest, from a closure standpoint, I don't know how long this has been open and closed off the.
Just got it from the back. Just got it from the back.
That's pretty good. To be honest, that's actually probably a little easier than some of the pro level stuff earlier that they were making.
For sure. So really hit their stride when it's coming to the consistency level of the gloves. Moving on to the blocker. Nice and simple. It's there based off their 615 design, so bindingless. Nice open cuff. Help you get that presentation forward. Feels like your standard Lefebvre blocker.
Okay, so really sharp looking graphics.
Yes.
A hazardous base pad.
Correct.
590 brake. 615 you called it?
615 blocker.
Bindingless blocker. Half the price, roughly, of what you pay for the pro level gear.
Available in intermediate.
They have it in store now. If people have any questions, Cam,
604 589 8299 or 1-800-567-7790.
I have one more question. Ballpark, who's this for? Like you can wear this right up to,
and that really depends, growing kid going through, your majors, things like that. We're not quite ready for a pro level pad, your recreational hockey player who's looking to look pretty slick,
I was just going to say, this is style for the beer leagues.
This can encompass a lot. If you're going to be on the ice, 6 times a week, this probably isn't the product for you. You're going to be looking for something a little bit better. But that said, anything underneath that, definitely worth a shot.
All right, there you go. L95 7X. Got any questions? Give Cam and his crew a call.
Check it out
at the Hockey Shop.
The interesting thing about the different levels of price points is you can mix and match that a little bit, right?
You can, yeah, for sure. Especially if, like, from a graphic standpoint, that those vintage looks of the L95. They also have an L87 version that we're going to get into in the coming weeks. We've got both. You could put a plain white, like, if you're like, hey, like, pads are great. I need it now. They look fantastic, but I need a glove. Like, I want a pro glove, or I want a pro blocker because I want more pop off it. You could mix and match that for sure. Plain colors, plain white. You could add a little pad skins to it to try and match what's going on with the graphics below. But yeah, you could absolutely get away with that. Nothing wrong with a little mix and match.
Lean into it and use it to your advantage. If you're at a level where you don't need something that's going to be elite protection in your pads, but you want that glove, then make sure that it works for you and you've got the necessary protection, and borrow from one side and put it in the other and make it happen. Hutch, busy things happening over at InGoal regarding just different relationships across the country.
Absolutely. Everybody knows we've got a lot of partner goalie schools that provide InGoal memberships for their students. We have just reestablished our relationship, or renewed our relationship, with the Oakville Rangers Association in Toronto. Want to welcome them back on board. All their goaltenders and one coach on every team became InGoal members the last couple of years, and we're going to carry that on this year. So thank you to them for their support of InGoal and seeing us as an anchor in what they're doing in their strong goalie development program there. I've got another couple associations coming on board. I've had probably a dozen meetings in the last week and several more coming up. So if you're a goalie with an association or a parent, you might want to check in and see if they support InGoal memberships for your goaltender. If you are a goalie coach, we have something special along those lines we would love to share with you. It is much more than an InGoal membership. We've got a whole suite of supports that we are adding in for associations to help the parents, to help the coaches, to ensure you're getting engaged with the material. You've got something all the time to be using to help you become a better goaltender. Worked really hard at this program and would love to share it with people. And especially if you happen to work in development with an association, if you're a coach helping goalie development with a local association, please reach out to me, David at ingoalmag.com, and I would love to have a chat with you.
Because how often do we hear, hey, like, they're not doing anything for the goalies. The goalies are left behind. There's no development plan. And I know a lot of associations are trying to do more than that, but we're going to give you an opportunity to prove to your goaltenders that you are thinking of them, that you are coming up with a resource, as opposed to, and I know this happens a lot, it's like, hey, we've got extra money for the goalies. What do you want to do as a parent? I would suggest there's no better value than this in terms of giving you weekly content that will help your goaltender get better as part of your association fees. So hit us up, hit Hutch up. There's lots of great things coming.
What's the email again, Hutch?
David at ingoalmag.com, or just about any other email address you've heard read on this show comes to my inbox. So you just send me a note.
And that can be the goaltender, that can be the goalie's parent to reach out, or somebody from the association to get the ball rolling.
Absolutely. We can get the ball rolling, especially quick if it's an association or a goalie coach, but I love talking to everybody, so send us notes.
Except for me. He's screening my calls.
Well, I don't talk to Woody, I just listen.
Yeah, fair. Very one-sided. It's just the voicemail is the same thing as having a conversation with them. Oh, you're listening.
That hurt a little bit.
Yeah, really, Woody, I'll just listen to this later. You keep going.
Our NHL Sense Arena feature interview with the Daccord is coming up, but first, Vizual Edge. And we've got our ProReads segment, Vizual Edge, presenting that side of it where we get to really lean into NHL goaltenders and professional netminders.
Well, speaking of the Detroit Red Wings and Brian Daccord becoming the director of goaltending there, this week's Vizual Edge features his goaltender for the year, or one of his goaltenders for the year, Cam Tablot. And it's a great look at screens and the importance of understanding team systems and how your guys execute them to give yourself an advantage when picking a side behind a screen. And so Cam walks us through what is pretty much a common, typical NHL system in terms of how, they would prefer players to be in certain lanes and how that allows you to react in a different lane as a goaltender when it comes to finding a sight line. But this one's great because it actually goes through a couple different things. He goes through a static screen, he goes through a flash screen, and he walks you through the details he's looking for to make sure he has better vision on the puck. The other thing that Cam happens to tell us, because he is a Visual Edge user as part of this, is how some of these saves he feels he's making more of specifically because of his use of Visual Edge, which is both a visual training tool and a cognitive training tool. And something that Cam started using late in his career and credits for all the All-Star appearances over the last 5 years after starting in the league without them. So that's a great reminder that if you're a InGoal member, you can save on a Visual Edge subscription. We talked about visual and vision training. As Jordan Bennington told us, it also helps preparation cognitively. He uses the game day drills, his quotes, every game before heading to the rink. It's a combination of recognition, reaction, and focus that activates my brain and eyes to feel ready for what's to come. And of course, you don't have to be an InGoal subscriber. You can use the code, all caps, INGOAL, InGoal, to get 10% off Visual Edge monthly and annual subscriptions. But if you are an InGoal member, it's 20% off. So you will more than save the cost of a subscription to InGoal if you're thinking of Visual Edge. Just go to our ProReads as a member and you will get the 20% off code. So Visual Edge and ProReads, both about helping you see and read the game better.
NHL Sense Arena, I would understand helping you get better at screens and traffic, but the Visual Edge part, I wouldn't have leaned into as much. It's great that is an advantage coming to you.
Well, Cam's told us a couple times that like he talks about this, and it's funny because Joey, who is a Sense Arena user, talks about Sense Arena saves. Like that was a Sense Arena save, and Cam's talked about that with us as well, and he does in this week's Pro Reads. Like the ability, the information you're looking for, you train your eyes and your brain to find it quicker. The information you need to pick up on, we hear from goalies all the time, the blade angle, the hands, all those things you're trying to see, whether it's converging on the puck or diverging to look out and see where the guy's shoulders are, where his head's looking, things like that. Visual Edge trains them all. So it's one of those stones that the best tend not to leave unturned so that you can see the game better. And yeah, it's one that helps. Like I said, you got a guy at the top level, a guy like Bennington who's won 4 nations, guy like Cam who's an NHL All-Star, and they talk about helping him get better with it.
It's amazing how much they look at.
That's what ProReads is all about, right? Like being able to see all those details. I remember, Hutch, you remember the first time we did it with Carey Price? The first we were
absolutely.
We were experimenting with ProReads. It was an idea I had in my head. Like, hey, like we think this would be
wearing the InGoal backup towel as he did it.
Yeah, that's right. Carrying an InGoal backup towel.
Backup.
Walking us through the well, that's when we decided it wasn't a backup towel. It was a
that's right. It's a starter towel,
best in the world towel.
That's right.
I remember Darren thinking, and obviously we're like 350 Pro Reads in now, so we've learned this lesson. But I remember going into the first one thinking, I have a basic understanding of the information these guys are processing in real time. And Carey starts talking about what he's seeing on a rush read, and it was like the brain exploding emoji. I was like, oh my God. In real time, the amount of information that these guys at the top level process is incredible. And that's what ProReads is all about. Bringing you the details that they're looking for.
I remember that one of those first ones in that set, him describing how as a play was changing mid-push for him, he just about defied the laws of physics to change his body motion in midair and move to a different person in a different way. And that was a light bulb ka-ching moment for me to think this is something this guy can do that nobody else can.
Well, we picked a pretty good guy to start with.
Yeah, not a bad start. It's all downhill from here. But no, these guys, it's not. That's the amazing thing. Like the insights and the depth that so many guys go into is just amazing. Just love it.
And I think my favorite thing too, not to dwell too long on ProReads, brought to you by Visual Edge, but within that, there are a lot of repetitive things. Like we do see certain patterns and certain things, screens, short side, right? Like we've established that. But when to switch over to the middle, like what your priorities are, what hand shooter is going to shoot to a certain side of the net more likely than not. You see these patterns in these ProReads, and you inevitably start to connect those patterns on the ice when you're playing. Like, that's the reason these goalie coaches tell us there's no better way to learn how to read the game than InGoal Magazine's Pro Reads. And we've seen that over the years. So this turned into a shameless plug for our Pro Reads. But folks, if you're not subscribing to check these out, to go through them every week with your young goaltender, like get your association to do it or do it yourself, you will get better at what we hear is one of the most crucial elements of advancing up the levels. And that's the ability to process, think, and anticipate what's coming next.
And if you don't have the advantage or access to ice time, you can use NHL Sense Arena to really dial in your game with shooters coming at you and all kinds of things from box control to traffic. It's really a useful aid to getting yourself in a better position going into a practice or a game situation. And NHL Sense Arena bringing us our feature interview.
In our feature interview, Joey Daccord and his father, Brian, we mentioned Brian's new role with the Detroit Red Wings. He also happens to be the goalie development director for NHL Sense Arena. As I mentioned, there's nothing quite like those shared experiences between a parent and a child around the game of hockey, guys. We've all got these special memories with our kids. And most of us don't get the chance to jump on the ice in the summer like Brian and Joey do, much less during the season. So I was thinking, how could you share that same connection that they have beyond just driving to the rink and cheering from the stands? And I thought, NHL Sense Arena, because every membership includes 4 accounts, which is perfect if you've got more than one goalie or even a player in the family, because there is a player version as well. But here's the twist, parents. You could make one of those accounts yours. The pucks don't hurt. There's no crowd in the stands that you have to be worried about. And it's just you and your kid. And whether you're trying to compete head to head in some of these drills, or you just want to give them a little extra motivation by doing it alongside them, because every kid loves to beat their parents, right? I just think it's a fantastic idea for you to get involved with it. So NHL Sense Arena, it's not just a tool for your goalie. It's not just a gift for your player. It's a chance to build some memories together as you battle for bragging rights on the family leaderboard. From simple warm-ups to challenging screen drills to fun neurocognitive training, you'll be exploring and playing side by side for hours. So head over to sensearena.com today. Use the code IGM50 at checkout to save even more.
The Daccords.
Before we head into the Daccords, I just wanted to share some of Joey's words about NHL Sense Arena that he has shared with us before. And I think one of the key things is that actually comes out of that little read I did for Sense Arena there, is that Dad was never forcing Joey to use this. Joey's not doing a favor for his father who's involved with the NHL Sense Arena. Joey tells us about his first experiences until it's now become something he uses right up at the National Hockey League level. So let's hear from Joey.
Yeah, I mean, first off, like the team over there is top notch. They do a great job, and they work really hard to put out a good product. I remember when my dad first showed it to me, it was in my parents' living room, and this was a long, long time ago. And I was like, oh, it's a fun little video game for people that want to try goalie or whatever. I didn't think I was going to use it. And then I started using it maybe 2.5 seasons ago, and I just felt really good after I used it. And I used it a couple times before practice, and I was like, I'm dialed in. Like I'm seeing the puck like so well. Started using it before games, and I felt like it was like a warm up for my warm up. Sometimes, especially like if we play afternoon games or games where we don't get a morning skate, you get out there, it's like, you're still kind of trying to see the puck and get your tracking dialed in. But if I use my Sense Arena before, it's like I jump into warm-ups just already at full throttle. And I think, truthfully, I think the biggest spot that it's helped my game is working through traffic and projecting, because a lot of the drills I'll do them once with no screen, and then I add in a screen. And like, I've made saves the last couple seasons through traffic that I see for a millisecond and I catch it. And then I'm looking around like, did anyone realize how good of a save that was? Like, because they had no idea. I never saw it, right? Yeah. And I'm like, that was a Sense Arena save. That's a save that I made from using Sense Arena. Wow. That's the biggest spot that I feel like I've advanced from with that.
It's one thing to listen to us talk about Sense Arena, but when a guy's at the top of the sport and he's using it, like there's no better affirmation of the concept and the tool.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And you and I, well, I'm sorry, Darren, Kevin and I don't get the chance to go out there with NHL shooters on the ice. We don't get to do the same things that the National Hockey League goaltenders do. But with NHL Sense Arena, you are literally using the same tool that NHL goaltenders are using to make yourself better.
It's nice to go out with NHL shooters. You know why? They don't hit you in the head nearly as much as the rec league guys.
I got
They probably
beamed.
don't hit you at all.
I got beamed 3 times last night. So yeah, fair.
I got hit twice this morning with my Saturday morning scrub skate. One guy was like on a mini breakaway right in the face and didn't even like acknowledge it. Just went after the rebound. I'm like, really? That's the only place you could hit me? So the NHL guys they're fine.
Our kid was training with NHL Sense Arena one time, and you don't get hit in the head very often with NHL Sense Arena, but he did. And this is how realistic it is. Soon as it happened, he took the headset off and sort of gave it his head a little shake, and he was rattled by the experience. It's pretty realistic.
I'm going to have to change my cage next week. And the guys are going to ask me, who hit you? I'm going to say, Bob from Saturday morning. Not Barbashev, but Bob from Saturday morning. Cool thing with the NHL Sense Arena and the Daccords. And this just, if you can set it up as much as you can, father, son, hanging out, and how much they bounce goaltending off each other really shines through.
I think you just get the real experience. It's them sitting on the deck. It's them talking hockey. It's Joey asking dad to jump in to clarify something. It's dad checking in with Joey. You imagine that you're sitting there on the deck with them having a conversation. And it was just a real privilege for me. And I don't want to talk about anything that they said. Let's just hear it from them.
The Daccords with the NHL Sense Arena feature interview on InGoal Radio, the podcast.
We thought it would be fun today to bring a goalie and parent to talk about their relationship and their year. And for them, the season has looked a lot like what any young goalie and his dad might dream of. Playing at the top level, announcing a big commitment, joining a spring team for a fun tournament, and then spending the summer at camps and getting ready for next season and tryouts. Of course, our guests aren't just any father and son. Joey Daccord plays for the Seattle Kraken, and the commitment was his 5-year contract signed back in October. That spring tournament was the World Championship, where Joey won gold for Team USA, including a shutout in his debut. And those tryouts were the U.S. Olympic camp as they begin preparations for the upcoming Winter Games. We are thrilled to welcome Brian and Joey Daccord.
Thanks for having us.
Congratulations on your success and an incredible year. Was there any particular moment from this season that really stands out for you? And what did it mean to be able to share it with your dad and the rest of your family?
There were definitely some moments that stood out. I think when I look back at it now, it's a lot to reflect on. There's so much that goes on in an NHL season, and then you add on Worlds and the Olympic orientation camp, etc. And I think for me, when you think about it from a full picture, big picture standpoint, you look at the initial. I signed my contract on the first game of the season, 5-year extension, and that was, I guess you could say, I've really made it moment. That kind of commitment from a team, 5 years and that much money,
Sure,
was, I think for us as a family and father-son duo, was like, not that you breathe a sigh of relief in the sense that you get comfortable or satisfied, but just in the sense that, hey, it's real now, and I've established myself as a full-time NHLer, and hopefully here to stay. So that was probably a big one for me. And then just throughout the season, there were some big games and big moments, and obviously underachieved as a team, but I felt like my game improved a lot throughout the season, and then ultimately culminated with a World Championship appearance, and just getting to play for Team USA for the first time was such an incredible experience. Still get emotional thinking about it now. And then top it all off with getting invited to the Olympic orientation camp is dream come true, and going to do everything I can to make that team.
Is dad an emotional guy? Do you think there were tears in his eyes during the national anthem at Worlds?
Well, as a born and raised Canadian, I don't know, but you'd have to ask him.
Brian?
That would have been interesting, to see if I would have been there watching him and see him play against Canada and the jerseys, the whole thing. I know that we had actually flew over for the playoffs, and we got to Stockholm, and we walked in the Globe, and just to see him on the ice and like when you it's live and you see in that jersey, and they had that game, they had the 1980 style, jersey,
so good.
USA jersey, and it was quite something. It was quite emotional.
That's fantastic. Well, look, Brian, it was really just a typical year, the way you two probably drew it up. Is there something to that? Like, so many hockey parents worry about ticking all the boxes so their kids can realize their dreams. So what's the big secret to getting here? Or is it just looking at each step as just another step like it is for any other kid at any age group, even though the stakes are a bit bigger and the pressure's higher?
I mean, for me, I think just in terms of steps as a kid growing up, maybe it was naive of me, but I always just looked at it like, okay, this is a process and this is just what you do. Like you play youth hockey, and then you play high school, and then the next step is prep school, and the next step is junior, and then college, and then drafted, and minor leagues. And like I always just looked at it like, okay, this is the next step. This is the next step. And I think a lot of that just comes from self-belief and maybe a little bit of being naive, where you're just expecting to, hey, I'm going to make the next level. And I think that was kind of just always the mindset we had was, hey, let's figure out how to get to the next level and just keep doing it over and over and over and over again. Get to that next level, dominate it. When you're ready, move to the next one, and I think we were really good at that.
Yeah, I think that expression, I use that expression all the time. Take the stairs, don't take the elevator. And I think that
Good one.
From a goalie parent standpoint, you're so excited, you want your kids to advance. And I thought for Joey's career, it's just been so important that at each step of the way, there was no rush. It was, let's just make sure that we're able to conquer this level, get very good at it before you move to the next one. And it's really served well. We actually, we're talking about this the other day, and about the kids that go to college.
Right.
And how long should you spend in college? And I think that the data is going to support, you should stay in that college for 3 years. Like, there's no rush, a year and out or 2 years and out. The goalies that have done better, that have played college hockey, are the goalies that have stayed longer and conquered that level before they moved on. And I think, for nothing's been easy.
And just to add to that, it's not that I didn't want to.
Yeah.
Like I
of course. Yeah.
I'm not the most patient person. Like my dad always says, I want it now. Like I want things now. Like I wanted to be a starting goalie in the NHL when I was 22, and as I was playing in the minors and kind of grinding through that period of my career, like I wanted to be in the NHL. I wanted to be a starter. And I think one of the best things that ever happened for my career and for my game and the trajectory of my career was my last year in the American League when we made the Calder Cup finals. That kind of catapulted me to an NHL roster spot. And without that playoff run, I don't know if I get the opportunity to be on the roster next year. I don't know if I get those opportunities without that AHL experience. And like, just even to add to that more, like the year that Chris Drieger got hurt at Worlds, the next year I thought I was going to be on the team, and then they signed Martin Jones and I ended up in the minors. And I remember being so disappointed that, I felt like that was my opportunity to make the NHL roster, and then ended up another basically full year in the American League. And now you look back at it, and it was probably the best thing for me, but in the moment I was not happy about it. And that just kind of speaks to the stairs aspect versus the elevator. Maybe if I had taken the elevator right up to the NHL that year and I wasn't fully prepared, maybe it doesn't go well. Maybe I don't take advantage of the opportunity, whatever it may be, and it doesn't work out. Instead, I go to the American League. I played, I don't remember, maybe 40 games in the American League, and then played another 26 in playoffs and set a bunch of AHL playoff records, come a goal away from winning the Calder Cup. And next thing you know, the next year I'm playing 50 games in the NHL. So I think that's just a perfect example of the stairs versus the elevator.
Does Dad help you along the way with that? Are there conversations, Dad? I'm getting a little frustrated that I'm not getting the chance.
We never talk hockey. We never talk about goaltending.
Come on.
He's very little goalie knowledge, so I never call him after the game and ask for his thoughts.
Understandable.
No, we talk constantly. It's an incredible resource to have an elite NHL caliber goaltending coach, consultant, scout, you name it, in the goaltending world. He's done all of it. So I've been incredibly lucky to have that resource at my disposal. It's it's funny because I have people that I run into, goalie parents, whatever, and they always, everybody wants a piece of my dad, and I'm like, he picks up my call, so I feel lucky that I have that resource right there, at my disposal at 24/7, basically.
Hutch, it's so interesting because when Joey was speaking, all I could think of was, as a goalie parent, those times where it looked like, well, what Joey mentioned, that was his opportunity. Driggs gets hurt, and there's a spot, and he had a great year. He had the second best goals against, or the second best save percentage in the American Hockey League that year. And it was, hey, another year in the American Hockey League, we're going to sign Martin Jones. And that's a consistent theme throughout Joey's career, where there were moments where it always seemed like, oh, this is the worst thing that could happen. and then it ends up, in retrospect, that was the best thing that could happen. It's so counterintuitive because, like, as a father, you just want to protect your kids, right? As parents, we want to protect our kids. But the truth of the matter is, the more adversity that they face, the stronger that they're going to become. So even though we want to protect them, it's better for them to go through and have these hard times, because it's going to be those hard times that end up making them the people or the athlete that they become.
What specifically are you able to say to Joey, or Joey, what specifically do you hear from Dad in those tough moments along the road? Because it is a real roller coaster for goalies of every age. What's that conversation like, and how do you lean on him?
I would say there's lots of different messages that get delivered from him. He's a man full of wisdom. He always loves to give his lectures. But
as all dads do.
Yeah. A recurring theme is he would say more calluses. And what he means by that is it's just more calluses and more adversity that's just going to make me stronger and tougher and more mentally tough and more prepared for when I do get the opportunity to play and keep getting better or whatever it may be. And then I just become more prepared for it and stronger for it. And there's a lot of messages throughout the years, but that's one that really stands out to me.
I would say this, Hutch, sometimes we get caught up in the emotion of the moment.
Absolutely.
And, how many times when you're a parent and your kid gets in the car and I suck, right? Like, well, no, you don't. So I've always looked at it, well, if you take the emotion out, let's just look at it analytically. And, how are the goals? How are the goals scored? What would you need to do to be able to make that save? What do you need to get better at? So kind of strip the emotion at and think about it. So, one of Corey's idols and one of my former students, Corey Schneider, we used to call him the businessman. Corey didn't get all flustered with what was going on. He just thought about it and figured out, okay, what do I need to do? And therefore, he looked at it from a very business-like or very analytical approach. It then takes the emotion out, and then it allows you to develop a plan, a strategy to move forward and say, okay, what do I need to do? It's as simple as that. What did I do? What do I need to do? And okay, let's go do that.
Great advice. Joey, I'm thinking back to the World Championships now, and can you describe the feeling when you're standing there and the anthem plays for the first time for your first game?
Well, I'm gonna backtrack you a little bit. So
Okay.
That was amazing, but just to give some context, I was on my way to our pre-tournament game in Germany, and we were playing against the German national team in Dusseldorf. And before every game, my dad texts me like a picture. Sometimes it's funny, sometimes it's motivational, sometimes it's one of my hockey idols, sports
like every
idols.
game all year?
Every game I start, yeah.
You're the only person that he's ever said that. I've never said that publicly.
I think I've told that before.
I've never heard you say that one.
So every game he sends me a picture or something and then says, let's go Kraken, or let's go Firebirds, or let's go Sun Devils, whatever. So he sent me a picture of, like he just said, my childhood idol growing up, goalie idol was always Corey Schneider. And he sent me a picture of Corey Schneider playing for Team USA and said, let's go USA. And that moment, like, I was in tears on the bus on the way to the game. And I was like, God damn it, Dad. I'm trying to lock in for my first ever game with Team USA, like first time ever putting on the red, white, and blue. And he's got me in tears on the bus. I'm trying to hide my tears from the rest of the guys, like exhibition game before the World Championships. And it was just an emotional moment for me. And just, I remember being 8 years old, wanting to be Corey Schneider and just sitting there. I wanted to follow his career, follow all the steps he did, prep school, college, AHL, NHL. Like I wanted to do his whole career, and to just see that picture and see like, let's go USA. Like I was playing for USA. It still makes me emotional even right now.
Oh, that's fabulous.
Give me
Brian.
the thought process behind the picture.
Okay.
So it's 3 hours, exactly 3 hours before every game. And it's a picture with the let's go. So my thought process is always, I just want to let them know that I'm there for them.
Mm-hmm.
That's it. It's just, hey, you know what? You're not alone. We're in this together. And so that's been our tradition since ASU. Just a quick picture, and sometimes depending on what I think he needs,
it's funny.
It's sometimes it's motivation. So it varies a little bit depending on what's going on, but that's my intent. My intent was like, hey, you know what, there's no big speech, no hey, you got to do this tonight, no nothing, just like let's go, and I'm there for you.
I love it. That's fantastic. There's going to be a lot of kids getting pictures 3 hours before games this year, I think, including mine. Brian, how do you balance, and Joey, I'd ask almost the same question to you, being an NHL goalie coach with so much experience, being able to help your son from a distance, but he's got a goalie coach in an organization he works with in Seattle too, with the U.S. national team as well. How do you walk the line there as a parent coach?
Yeah, I mean, he's been very fortunate to have so many great goalie coaches, and ironically, people that I have relationships with as well. I think it's more of just sometimes you just need someone to talk to, right? Whether it's goalie related, not goalie related. They have their jobs to do. They take the video and they break it down. They do everything they have to do. And, maybe away from that, it may be, hey, Dad, what do you think of that second goal? Like, what are your 2 cents? And just a couple hockey guys, couple goalie guys talking about it. And so there could be a conversation, and hockey and goaltending may never come up. And maybe there's a different period or a different time than Joey wants to talk. So I'm there to talk. So for me, I just kind of like let him guide that. And if my opinion's asked, then I'm never afraid to offer an opinion.
I'm sure.
But, just to me as a parent, it's like any other parent. It's just getting a feel for what they're looking for and what they need at that time.
Yeah, we chop it up after almost every game, just go over it, talk about it. Sometimes it's more intensely, sometimes it's more loosely. Sometimes we talk about the other goalie and whether what we thought of his game and the team and stuff. It really just depends.
Just talking
honestly.
hockey?
Yeah, just talk hockey. And then sometimes I'll call him and we'll spend 2 minutes talking about the game and then talk about something else. I think one of the best things about our relationship is that he knows really well when to, and you're not hard on me that much anymore, but especially growing up, when to be hard on me and when to be like, hey, he knows he didn't bring his effort or compete or focus or bad body language or whatever, and take it easy on me. I think he did a really good job of managing that. And he was plenty hard on me, don't get me wrong, but he just knew kind of when the right moment was to be harder on me or when to back off. And I think that was something that was super important for me. And you do hear stories of kids that don't have a great relationship with their parents if their parent is their coach or their parent is too hard on them all the time. And I just feel really fortunate that we are so close. And I mean, I'm 29 years old. I've been playing goalie since I was 5. That's 24 years that we've been hanging out on the ice together. And it's pretty cool. Almost a quarter century we've been skating together. So it's pretty sweet.
Hey, since it's the father and the son theme in the discussion, so I just want to speak a little bit about that and being hard on Joey. I was hard on Joey, but never about performance or giving up a goal or it was the other parts. It was being on time and being respectful and
Attitude, effort.
Attitude, effort, all that kind of stuff.
Composure.
Yeah. It wasn't, oh, wow, you gave up a lousy goal or, you lost the game. There was none of that stuff. And
usually they correlate, though. No, they do. Well, usually, like if you're, that's when you get if your focus wasn't right, your attitude wasn't right, your body language, you weren't respectful, weren't a good teammate, etc. Usually, that's when you don't have your stronger games. So it does kind of correlate, but it wasn't the focus of the message wasn't, hey, you need to be better at goaltending.
Yeah.
I'll give you a great story, and Joey's going to remember this. So Joey was always one of two goalies, always. He always had his buddy Colin that was the other goalie, and they would split and they would take turns. So
when he pulled me for a shift?
No.
He pulled me for a shift one time, told me to lock
one shift,
put me back in. Yeah, youth hockey.
So
I don't. But what do you think about that? Seriously, because I actually wish that would happen more instead of just we don't like how you're playing, go sit on the bench for the rest of the day.
Like 10 or 11 years old, I wouldn't really do that. Yeah. You gotta figure it out on your own. I think you can't get taken out of the game. It's not really fair to the other goalie either. So I wouldn't do that often at all.
So here we are playing. He's just a kid, peewee or whatever, and he's playing the second half. So he's getting ready to go, and he looks at me and says, now. I'm like, no. Well, it's halfway through the game. He's ready to go, and he misses the right time to go. And then there's another whistle. Dad, can I go? Nope. And he turns and goes, well, it's already halfway. Why can't I go? I said, because you're not getting your homework done, and I'm tired of your mom getting mad at you. So therefore, you're not playing today. So get your homework done, and maybe I'll put you in the next game.
I actually have zero recollection.
Oh yeah,
I don't remember
Drake it. I remember that.
It was in Drake it.
Yeah, it was in Drake it.
I don't remember that at all.
Oh yeah. So, but that's what I mean in terms of it wasn't hard on him as a goalie and performance. It was the other stuff.
It's just another way of looking at process over results.
Without a doubt.
Really?
Yeah, I'm a huge believer in that. Just in general, I never look at the results. I look at the process of how we got there. It's always process oriented.
And
so can you give me an example? Yeah. Can you give me an example of something you might reflect on from a particular game? Don't have to name the game, but just you come out of an NHL game and how do you reflect on your process of that night? What sort of thoughts would you have?
Yeah, what were you going to say?
I was going to say how you don't get tied up in the stats and you're not always looking at stats and I
don't like looking at my numbers just because that's like, what's the point? Like it doesn't have any effect on my next game, right? Next game, it's like, okay, back to square one, drawing board. How do I play well tonight? How do I get a good result? My process is dialed. I have a good morning skate. My nutrition's dialed. I get a good night's sleep. I'm on time throughout the rest of the day. After morning skate before the game, I get a good meal. I execute my plan for the day, my routine, my schedule, get to the rink, go through my routine, make sure I'm sharp, make sure I'm dialed. Those kind of things are how you get there. And then when you get on the ice, it's okay, how do I play well? It's like, okay, I'm playing well. I'm doing these. I try to pick 3 things that I really want to focus on that we play well that night. And, a lot of times it's the same things, especially if I'm playing well. And they're simple things like making hard pushes, keeping my hands out, dropping big, getting to my spots early, being engaged early, certain things like that. And I think if I execute my game plan, then I usually play pretty well.
Did you just say dropping big? Can you explain what that means?
Like don't sag my hips when I drop in my butterfly and staying up. So like sometimes I'll drop kind of with my butt down too far back and then that my shoulders drop, my butt drops. Now then I'm back on pucks. So I like dropping big. I like dropping over the puck. So big, you could call it like a big butterfly, tall butterfly.
Obviously your relationship with Dad, Stop It Goaltending, has been a really big thing throughout your whole career. What's a summer of preparation look like? I know you spend time at Stop It in the summer. What's your summer of preparation look like? And are you able to even share some specifics of what you're trying to accomplish in a summer at this level?
Summer looks different every year. Based on how late my season went, how many games I played, etc., how much time I have. for me, like I'll just give you a quick insight to this summer. This summer, I've cut down on my weightlifting just a tiny bit, and added in more agility work. I play tennis twice a week. I basically replaced one of my lifting days. I still lift a little bit that day, but I keep it mostly as like a speed quickness agility day. And in the last few summers, I've added in a lot of bike riding, a lot of stationary bike riding, a lot of zone 2 work. I'm usually in the summer. It's a building progression, but usually start the summer at about 2 hours a week, and I'm up to about 4 hours a week right now of zone 2 riding, and then I'll taper that back in the next 2 weeks here as we head into camp. And it's usually 3 lifts a week, 2 tennis sessions a week, 2 to 3 skates a week. But I take about 10 weeks off the ice after the season ends, 10 to 12 weeks.
Can I ask that question?
Yeah, I'm a huge believer in packing your bag and don't even think about hockey, mostly mentally, but also physically as well. Playing goalie is such an unnatural human body position. It's not, you're doing things that the human body was not designed to do, not made to do. I think it serves the body really well to pack up your bag, play other sports. You can train as much as you want in the gym. I love playing tennis personally, so I hit with a coach twice a week, and it's probably the most fun part of my summer training. And I think it's one of the most applicable sports to goaltending. And that's why I'm a big believer in that as well. So yeah, I couldn't bang on the drum harder of taking time off the ice.
Are you able to tell us anything about what you're trying to accomplish on the ice from a technical perspective in the summer?
You want to talk about what we've been working on this summer?
Sure. I would say, I would say it'd be so counterintuitive to what people would think. One of the things that Joey and I have talked about a lot is looking at how goaltenders later on in their career start to lose some of their technical precision. And one of the things that we've consciously looked at is why would that be the case? And the reason is that the season's so long and so demanding and grueling at the NHL level. There's not a lot of time in the off season to go back to goalie school and to go back to all the little things and working on those small little habits that end up compounding into success. So we've kind of made a conscious decision here to spend our summers more or less, and every summer is a little bit different, but more or less just getting back to the basics. And so I always thought it'd be funny to talk to a parent or a kid who happens to walk into Merrimack College and watch us train in the summertime and look at the drills and go, well, that's boring. There's really a simple shot and a simple save, and there's really not much to this. And this is supposed to be, Coach Daccord is supposed to be at this level, and Joey's an NHL goalie. How come there's not a firing squad out there and taking 10 shots in a row? And no, it's doing all the little things and doing it correctly.
Yeah, for me, like during the season and during games, what gives me the most confidence is my technique and my mechanics being incredibly dialed in. And that's basically all I want to work on, because that's when I feel my best. That's when I have the most confidence, is when I feel like all of my movements are precise and, and just well structured. My game's really well structured. And I feel like if I spend the summer working on that, then I just come into the season feeling so good about my game, my technique, that I just have lots of confidence. And it's honestly something like even throughout the season in my goalie sessions, like I don't like doing hard drills. I don't like doing shots to score and tough plays. Like in practice, I'm about to get 300 shots where the guys shoot to score. There's 3-on-2s, in zone, 2-on-1s, guys just coming down, shooting nonstop. Like it's shot to score over and over. Like I want to do drills where I feel really good about my technique. I feel like I'm setting my feet, hitting my spots, getting my spots early. I feel like my stance is in the right position. I feel really comfortable with my game, so that when I do get into practice and it goes live, then I'm ready to go and I'm feeling really confident. So it's no different in the summer. It's just I used to do some more skates where I'd skate with big groups of, other NHL guys, and it was, 10 minutes of drills, and then you play 3-on-3, and then you play full ice, and those have their place for sure. But for me, I think the most important thing is the technique skates, and that's basically all we do now. And I feel like it is so beneficial for my game.
Hey, one thing I want to bring up too, when you're talking about the summer, and I don't want to miss this, is the PRI work that Joey does, because I think it's really important.
Yes, please.
That was a really good piece. So Joey just did put on his YouTube channel about a 16-minute piece that had him at the PRI workout and talk that through. And I thought that was really good for goalies to see. Not only, hey, you know what? If you want to be an elite athlete, you've got to look for other ways to help you, as opposed to just going on the ice. And PRI's been a big part of Joey staying healthy for the last number of years.
Yeah, it's a big. That's a good point. I'm glad you brought that up. That's another part. So I go see my PT 2 or 3 times a week all summer. I see a different PT in Seattle, does the same, similar type of stuff all year. That's a huge part of my summer, and we call it more like body restoration than anything. I like you said, so I have a YouTube channel, and I did a full breakdown of a session with my PT, and I think it's really valuable for goalies to see that and see what it looks like, because I personally think all goalies should be doing stuff like that, because it's against the traditional norm of what most kids and goalies are taught. It's the exact opposite of almost everything I've been taught since I was 10, 12, 14, 16, since I started working out, since I started playing goalie at a remotely high level, in terms of how to take care of your body from a flexibility, mobility standpoint. And it's changed my career in terms of my ability to stay healthy and my joints, my hips, everything. So couldn't recommend it anymore.
So we'll share that video, and thank you for doing that for the goalie community. That's fantastic. But I have to pull at the thread, because you said it's the complete opposite of what you've been brought up doing. Are you able to give me an example or describe what you were taught versus what you're doing now, and how it is the opposite?
Yeah, basically I was just taught that I had to strengthen the outside of my glutes a ton, which is like doing, for example, like a band walk or a clamshell or a glute bridge with a band around your knees. And essentially, when you play goalie, those are the muscles that are working the hardest. So your body has compensation patterns. We could go down a rabbit hole here, and we're not gonna, but your body has compensation patterns, right? Your body is always trying to find the easiest way to do something, right? So if you play goalie, your body's going to try to compensate in areas to make doing the butterfly as easy as possible. Now, that's not always a good thing, because it's going to find a non-ideal way to do that. So essentially, your TFLs, glute medis, etc., on the outside of your hip and glutes, they get worked overtime to try to butterfly and then internally rotate your hip at high velocity and high impact, right? So for years, I was taught I had to do glute bridges, band walks, and clamps to strengthen these areas, when in fact, I really just needed to strengthen my adductors, my hamstrings, and reposition my pelvis, because my pelvis got so basically anteriorly tilted that I couldn't have any internal rotation of my hips. And now I have ideal internal rotation of my hips and essentially strengthen it. This is a very simplified version, but strengthen adductors and hamstrings more than
I get it.
than like glutes and quads. We still do glute work, don't get me wrong, but it's just in a very specific targeted way. Like the body, I don't want to go down too crazy down the rabbit hole, but the body's not symmetrical, right? So, and that's because of your organs are different on both sides. So there's different pressure throughout the body. So like your pelvis on most people sits a certain way, where like your left hip needs to be pulled back, your right hip needs to be pulled forward. So you should focus more on your left adductor strength and your right glute max strength. And that'll help shift your pelvis back to even. The different things like that. And the video kind of explains that on my YouTube.
That's fantastic. We will absolutely share that with everybody. And we love it when somebody's got a, I don't want to say unconventional, but a way of doing things that is challenging the norms. And I think that's great to keep everybody thinking. Brian, what role did Stop It Goaltending play in Joey's path? And did you create a sort of culture at the goalie school that maybe mirrors what you try and have at home with your son?
So ironically, a lot of people would think geez, I was Joey's goalie coach as a kid, and I coached him all the way through. And to some extent, that's correct. But we've had so many great coaches at Stop It Goaltending, and everybody's had a part of working with Joey. So I love the group dynamic of Stop It Goaltending and the camaraderie and the kids that work out together, and they go out together and have fun and play golf and go to the beach. And I think there's a tremendous value of Goalie Nation working out together in these groups. So when you have groups, you have different stations. So Joey would, go around station to station, and he'd work with all the guys. And so it's funny to think about how many different coaches at Stop It have had a hand in helping Joey develop himself as a goaltender and how he wants to play. And I think that, it's so beneficial for me to surround myself with other goalie guys that may not think exactly the way I do, that have their own thoughts. And then they can bring drills and concepts and ideas to me to make me better. So I don't think Joey gets to where he's at with just Dad as the coach. I think it's been so important for him to work with all the different other goalie coaches that we have. And it's been a great opportunity for him to be exposed to these different coaches.
I love it. I've always tried to encourage kids to see more than one coach. Some kids just get drilled in, or some coaches even tell the kids they have to drill in only with them. And there's so much you can learn from other people, isn't there?
Yeah, without a doubt. And it was, it was so much fun. And it's not only just the coaches. It's very rarely Joey was the best goalie on the ice. So when, you've got to as a goalie, you've got to surround yourself with other good goalies so you can learn from them, because they learn from each other as much as they learn from the coaches.
Okay, we have kept you guys for too long, so I will do the famous Kevin Woodley one last question.
One last question, Woody.
Yeah, which might mean there's three coming. Joey, we always run a parent segment on our show, and it's sponsored by SIGU, as you probably know. So I'm just going to put you on the spot. This one might get pulled into a parent's segment of its own. We will see. Joey Daccord's top 5 tips for parents of goalies. Looking back on your life with your dad or things you've seen around you, can you come up with 4 or 5 things you think parents should hear from you today?
Okay. 5 things?
Ish, if you can do it, sure.
Play other sports.
Yep.
Take 2 to 3 months off every summer, or spring, ideally. Don't play in every single tournament in the summer and everything. Pick a few. What else would I say? Focus on skating. Number one thing, skating. And
can I have this one?
Yeah, I'll jump in for the last one.
Okay, so Joey's an elite puck handler.
Oh, yep. Play forward. Play out. Yeah, play out as a forward or D.
No, that's not what I was going to say. Oh, okay. But that's good.
Well, those are my 5.
Okay.
I love
this
it. Thank you.
Story, right? So Joey loved to shoot pucks. He shot so many pucks, and I would get so mad at him. I'd walk down in the basement, he'd be shooting pucks, and he'd have player gloves and a player stick. And I would tell him, "You want to be a goalie? Put your blocker on, grab your goalie stick, grab your glove." And he'd say, "No, that's not fun." And what I didn't realize was, by using player gloves and a player stick, the fine motor skill of handling the puck was he was so much better. He was so much better off using a player stick and player gloves to learn the muscle memory of how to handle a puck. And then naturally, as he got older and stronger and got on the ice with goalie gloves, and he was able to handle the puck so much better. So I learned a lot from that.
I did it because it was way more fun. I couldn't even, when I started when I was young, I couldn't even lift the puck off the ground. When I was in my basement of my parents' house shooting pucks, I couldn't even lift the puck off the ground with a goalie stick and goalie gloves. It's just too heavy. It's not even fun. I genuinely, there's literally a hole in my parents' basement. Oh, well, the basement's renovated now, but there used to be a hole in the basement just over high blocker side on a goalie, because I loved shooting there. I shot there 95% of my puck, and it was so fun. I just sit there and just try to go bar down for hours, and that's how I gained the strength and the muscles to be able to shoot the puck well and handle the puck well.
Do you shoot right or left as a player, Joey?
Lefty.
So left both times. So that's a nice advantage, isn't it? Yeah, I'm the same.
Yeah,
Gentlemen, I really appreciate you taking the time today. I know you're short on time this summer, Joey, especially having to get back to Seattle. So best of luck this season. Thank you so much for all that both of you do for the goaltending community. I know everybody, especially all the parents and their sons and daughters, are going to love listening to this episode.
Yeah, thanks for having us. Appreciate it.
Much.
Okay. Have an awesome night, guys. Thank you so much. Appreciate it.
No problem. See ya.
Woody, what were you thinking as you were listening to the three of them talk?
Just the genuineness of that relationship, right? Like, and my kid plays sports. My youngest kid plays sports, but it's not one that I know intimately. Like I ask her open-ended questions growing up about, how the day went and how she felt the game went and things like that. But there's a different level of bond here. I think a lot of goalie parents have that with their young goalies. And I know a lot of goalie parents listen to this podcast or get memberships at InGoal Premium, InGoalMag.com, so that they can better understand the position for those conversations. But when you have two guys at the elite level and the conversations are still so, just as Hutch said going into it, like just two guys talking hockey, and you got a guy who's been like at every level, like Brian Daccord's been at every level, like NHL scout, NHL goalie coach, NHL director, now and a director again. And Joey, number one NHL goaltender. Like there's only 32 of those in the world. And them having a conversation on the back deck with InGoal and blessing us to be a part of it. And it just being father and son talking hockey. Like to me, there was a lot of individual takeaways that I want to highlight at InGoal in the coming weeks, and one that we'll highlight on the parent segment. But it was just overall how special that relationship is. To me, that's what really resonated.
And being able to connect with Joey and Brian kind of changes up how we're going to approach the parent segment, brought to us by Stop It Goaltending U, the app, which Brian is the foundation behind. We had the follow-up from last week, but we're going to just push that back a little bit, that second half, to be able to dig a little bit deeper into the Daccords.
Well, I think that, honestly, like that answer that was in the interview at the end, that's the parent segment, right? Like that's the and it's brought to you by Stop It Goaltending U, the app. And what better advertisement that for Stop It Goaltending U, the app, than listening to the people that are behind it. Brian Daccord, with all those 25 plus years of experience in the game, the job he's done with Joey, helping him along the path, the job he talked about all the goalie coaches at Stop It being a part of Joey's journey. All of that knowledge is baked into this app with advice and tips, often from Brian himself, on a weekly basis. This week's primers, quick 1 to 2 minute videos that you can watch every morning to help you get better in the position, all deal with posture. When we talk about a breakdown of goalies and how they play the game and trying to take tidbits away from it, this week's breakdown is a game between David Rittich and Jordan Binnington. Their different approaches, video analysis. Those are examples, just two of many, of the type of content you get fresh every week from the Stop It Goaltending U app. All that knowledge we just heard baked into an app, plus, not to toot our own horns, a subscription to InGoal magazine. And as we've told you throughout this episode, we bring you a ton as well to help you get better as a goaltender. You get that all with a subscription to Stop It Goaltending U, the app.
Well said. And Hutch, we can put your second half of what we were discussing last week just back 7 days.
Yeah, little anticipation. Last week we did the first 5 ways to have your best season ever as a goalie parent. I've got 5 more that I had promised to follow up with this week, but we're just going to keep them keep them over there in the green room and pull them out next week. If you are a goalie parent, if you're a goalie, if you're a coach and you'd like to share a tip for me and for our audience to make it parents' best season ever, send me a note, as always, podcast@ingoalmag.com.
Or David@ingoalmag.com.
Or info@ingoalmag.com.
It all funnels to the same spot. Were you thinking as a dad or a goaltender when you were talking to the Daccords, Hutch?
Oh, no question as a dad. No question as a dad. We all have those special moments. I was thinking about that moment between them that happened via text message on the bus. Such a privilege to hear that story. I think there are going to be hundreds of goalie dads now sending photos 3 hours before game time to their son this season, including yours truly. I have a feeling Woody will be sending volleyball pictures to his daughter 3 hours before her games this season. It was such a moving thing to hear about that, and it made me reflect on some moments that we had. And I don't know, just thought I'd ask you guys, do you have any sort of special traditions, special moments that sort of anchor you and your kids with, whether it's sport or whatever? I'll go first while you think about it, because what it reminded me of, because they're the little things that maybe other people don't see and others don't know. And here in Nanaimo, at least when Matthew was first playing as a youngster, you hit a certain level when you play on a quote unquote rep team, and all the rep teams have to practice once a week at 5:30 in the morning, which sounds like pure insanity, doesn't fit with what kids need for school and so on. And yet, for Matthew and I think one of the most special hockey memories are those 5:30 a.m. practices, stopping by Tim Hortons on the way to the rink every time, the quintessential Canadian thing, grabbing a hot chocolate. And then the two of us, he was the only goalie that season on his team. I was the goalie coach, and just those moments at the net when we got our 15 minutes to do some work together, just going to cherish them forever. I'll never forget them.
I did like driving to the practices with my kids.
Yeah.
The games get small talk became shorter and shorter, but driving to practices where you could talk about anything, you didn't need to be as focused. It was just fun, daddy-daughter stuff.
Tunes, letting them pick the tunes. Like
playlists.
We have like my youngest playlist all the times. That became a shared experience. Like it became a Taylor Swift thing for a while there, and a shared experience that resulted in going to a concert together and a memory that I'll have forever. So. Don't have any as specific as Joey and his dad in terms of like getting ready for a game. Maybe I need to start that, but yeah, it's a really good question. I like it.
Are you going to start doing something like that, Hutch?
Yeah, probably. I mean, we have our little messages back and forth all the time. I'm never telling him how to play. The only thing he ever gets from me is love you and have fun out there. But maybe we'll add a few.
Got to keep us up to date on that.
I sent him a picture this morning. I'll share it with you too.
Oh, did you?
Else. Yeah.
Okay. It's tough to go for Frosties after a practice when you live in Moose Jaw and Vancouver Island.
We should try. Yeah, maybe this year after we could share our experience. We'll both go through the drive-through in our different cities on FaceTime or something.
Exactly.
See, it's a Tim's thing. Does it make me un-Canadian to say I can't stand the coffee? Am I we have no chance of a Tim Hortons sponsorship, but do I lose?
Do you know what else? They're not even owned by a Canadian company.
Listen,
used to be started by an NHL hockey player, Tim Horton.
So I'm okay now. I'm allowed to say that I don't love Tim Hortons.
I like the coffee. My wife doesn't, but I like the coffee.
I don't like
used to be coffee. Great, no longer is.
You know,
really?
You want to know the funny thing?
The word I heard is they lost the contract for where they got their beans from, and McDonald's picked it up. And now I prefer McDonald's coffee. I don't know if that's a true story or not. It's just something I saw on the internet. So there's a 10% chance it's true.
I'm just glad that I haven't lost my Canadian citizenship over this, because I was just in the land of coffee with my daughter, dropping her off at school. Kona, some of the best beans in the world, and was told on several occasions by both her teammates and people in retail and at the coffee store, asked if I was Canadian because of my accent. So I may have lost the citizenship over the Tim Hortons thing. But believe it or not, boys, we've got some words that we say that are like immediate triggers.
Oh, yeah. They're
for the American. Darren knows.
Yeah, I've had to adjust how I present things.
Bag?
Yeah. Data, process, all of it. I think you guys are it's the difference between a 580 and a 590. It's not that big of a difference between the coffee.
It's subtle.
It's subtle.
But if you know, you know.
Yeah. I drink more cold coffee now than I ever thought I would. So, and now,
I would if I lived in Vegas too, probably.
Yeah, it's hard to. You order coffee, you want a hot one. You got to explicitly say I want hot coffee.
I just can't do cold coffee.
Cold brew or cold coffee. There you go. We'll get through this, and we'll get back to you guys next week when we're up and running. A lot of interesting setups that we're getting the glimpse of. We'll get a few more of those as teams really start to crank up their practice, their captain skates, and the NHL media tour rolls through Vegas. So we'll get a few more situation analysis with what's happening as we enter this season and embark on what is a wide open campaign. A few different things with the Olympics that are going to change things up. But I also want to know, think about this in the next 2 weeks. What's the most games a goalie will play this year? Think because of the jam schedule and then the Olympic break, is it going to be noticeably different this year for number of games played in the National Hockey League? Don't answer it now, though.
I got it right away. Oh, yeah. Okay. I'll save it for next week.
Save it. Thanks for listening to InGoal Radio, the podcast presented by the Hockey Shop, source for sports Langley, hockeyshop.com. Stop him, keep your stick on the ice and that glove up, and if it hits you in the head, chase him down the ice.